Hello everyone and welcome back to the Silicon Nubian YouTube channel. We should also point out that we do have a web presence. We have a blog at Blogspot called PC Enthusiast and Tech. We also have a Facebook page, a group called PC Enthusiast and Technology, and a company page at Silicon Nubian on Facebook. One of the things that we love to build here at Silicon Nubian for clients and ourselves are HTPCs, also called home theater PCs. And our go-to software is XBMC, which is now called Kodi. There is other software that exists that are very capable and quite nice to use, such as Plex Media Center and a few others, MB, for example. But more often than not, we go with Kodi because I guess we're more comfortable with it. It's very capable and extremely powerful, in particular with the plugins that exist for it. So in this video, we're going to take a rundown through Kodi and try to just skim the surface on what Kodi can do for you and why we like it so much. Kodi is a convergence product. Well, more so, the home theater PC as a whole is a convergence product, meaning all of your media, your video, your audio, your pictures, your streaming media, depending on your setup, maybe even live broadcasts, can be brought together in one place under one holistic, very nicely presented GUI. And that's basically what Kodi is. I'll give you a little background on Kodi. Kodi began its life as XBMP, acronym for Xbox Media Player. An add-on for the Xbox, software add-on, the original Microsoft Xbox that allowed the Xbox to be turned into a player of all types of media. Development of that stopped approximately 2003. A year later, in the middle of 2004, the first stable release of what was called now XBMC, or Xbox Media Center, appeared. Rapidly grew in both capability and in popularity. And later, I believe it was 2009, the name was changed to XBMC Media Center, more to recognize the fact that this software had now become multi-platform and was no longer confined to just Microsoft Xbox. Kodi, which is the next iteration of XBMC, the name was changed in part, because, again, that push for the multi-platform and the fact that XBMC, now called Kodi, no longer is supported on the original Xbox. Kodi is definitely multi-platform any way you slice it. It can be found running on Android devices, under Microsoft Windows, under Linux, some Unix, Raspberry Pi. There seems to be a port of Kodi for any platform that would be worthwhile. OS X is definitely included, and because of the way that Kodi is designed, the experience on all of these platforms is remarkably similar. So that's the history. So let's get started. What you see in front of you is the initial skin that comes with the Kodi 4. We have version 14.2, by the way, running here. At the bottom, we can see a scrolling messages. That's alerting the user to all the developments and the latest developments with Kodi. We have version 15.0 in very steady development. And at the middle, we have categories: pictures, videos, movies, miscellaneous, programs, and system. And each have subcategories. For example, under system, we have settings, file manager, profiles, and system info. We'll get to each one of those in a minute. What you see when you start Kodi is not necessarily what it's going to look like for you after you've tweaked it. This is a skin. What you're seeing here are called skins. How it's presented visually to you can change quite dramatically depending on the skin that you install. And it's all done within the Kodi interface, all these changes. There's no need to go outside and use ancillary programs to do this and that and come back into Kodi. Kodi, as much as it can, tries to be one self-contained, one-stop shop kind of software, and we love it for that. But the real power of Kodi comes in plugins and add-ons. If you see under pictures, we have add-ons, music, we have everything. And we're going to go through it little by little, one by one. Again, this is just skimming the surface because realistically, Kodi, um, for better or for worse, is very highly configurable. It might put off some people who don't like tinkering, but if you like to tinker, Kodi is for you. And even if you don't, the default screen on a 60-inch TV in your basement with your full surround sound looks awesome. It's been our experience that people who actually see a home theater PC operating and see the capabilities almost always want one. Okay, so let's go through it. We have pictures. Now we've already added some pictures here in a category. We've called it pictures. You can have called this anything, memories. You can separate it. And what we've done is we've gone through the process, and this process is fairly similar, except for one or two differences, and we'll show you later. For adding pictures, movies, music, video, you go to wherever it's stored, whether it's on your C drive, HTPC media, and you can add it. Let's add this. I'll show you how it works. HTPC media. Okay, and we could call it something. We could call it, for example, memories. Excuse me. And we have memories. And memories will just bring us to the folder that we assigned. Kodi is very good at, and it's quite simple to add locally available media. If it's on the hard drive as part of the system, I should show you again. Maybe I passed it a little quickly. And there's Kodi can get from local hard drives, network file systems, universal plug-and-play devices, Windows Network, SMB, and can use a zero configuration browser. There are many ways that Kodi can go out. If you have, for example, a NAS drive or a central server in your home or your business, you can tell Kodi, yes, this is where all my information is. And we'll just give you one quick tip. It's good when you have your media files, whether it's located locally in the machine itself or remotely, by way of a network attached storage or some kind of server or even another PC, to organize it. Okay, you'll see that when we organize it, we have a folder called, and this is just a suggestion, HTPC media, and under there we have movies, music, pictures, videos. It makes it a lot easier for you, and also makes it easier for Kodi to figure out what exactly you're trying to show it and use this proper scrapers to get the information. And I use that word scrapers. We're going to go into that right now. Videos are different when it comes to adding videos. If, for example, I choose any folder, and I can call it whatever I want to call it, because I already had that, and I go OK. Another dialog box pops up. What this is, if you're adding videos, for example, Kodi uses what's called scrapers. Scraper is a bit of code. Usually it's a little snippet of code. What it does is it goes out, looks at the naming convention, the name of your media, goes out to the appropriate place on the internet, for example, IMDb, Internet Movie Database, if it's movies, and tries to match it with an entry there and pulls down all of the information. Now, what we're talking about is actors, date release, critiques, whatever, backgrounds. Here it's called fan art, where fan arts are the big posters that will serve as backgrounds. What this does is give you more of an involved experience when you're selecting a file. You know much more about it than just the name. And we're going to show you how that works. Okay, so if this folder contained music videos, I would use this scraper. If this folder contained TV shows, and so on and so on. The interesting thing is, let's say it's music videos. I can use the default scraper, or I can even get more. When I click on this, it will go to a Kodi repository of all these scrapers that I can use. Many of them, depending on where you actually live in the world or what you're looking at, may not be appropriate for what you're searching for, but the fact that you have alternatives is very good. Also, you have the defaults, use folder name for lookup, scan recursively, and there's even more settings. Grab thumbs, audio database, grab album thumbs from FanArt TV, and that will change depending, you see, HTPC Media 2 has been added. That will change depending on if you're looking for movies, TV shows, or videos. So you have a lot of stuff here. And like I said, Kodi is not just a one-shot pony. There's a lot of things you can do for better, for worse. Some people actually don't like or feel uncomfortable with the amount of configuration that's there. But we usually ship these out to people pre-configured for what the needs of the vast majority of users would need. And Kodi out of the box pretty much has a very sane selection of defaults included. So we have videos. We have, here we are, created a movies. Movies is, of course, a folder on the drive that has everything we're looking at. We can search the movie, or list them, I should say, not search, but we can, in order of year they were made, title, genre, actors, and whatnot, go by title. You see the fan art in the background? That's the fan art. And you can change the way that it's presented. I can view it as big list, thumbnails, poster wrap. And the fan art changes as I go over the different titles. Fan art's interesting because you get all that information right up front. There's a key that you can press. And by the way, when we ship Kodi, we don't, or what we recommend with Kodi or any home theater PC to really get that immersion into the whole home theater environment, we send it up with a remote control, usually an IR remote. So you would not use your keyboard, or you would not use your keyboard often with this. You would use a remote control, much as you would a remote control that would control your DVD player, television, your home theater receiver. And that's the beauty of it too. It's a more immersive experience, in my opinion, when you do it like that. So here we have different titles that are available. So let's start one. I've just moved forward. This is from the Blender Foundation. It's freely available. I'm scanning forward. You see, it's playing even in the main window. That's another thing that's very nice. You even saw it playing there in the main window. I can continue to do things, search for other media or whatever, and it can continue to play even in the background. Music is much the same. Again, you have a lot of different settings. It plays in the background. You see how it played? Then that video in the background there, how it displays the music. It's very nice. That's also very configurable. Pretty much any aspect of Kodi is easy to configure. I'm going to show you how to put in weather. Weather would be another thing to add, and we go into system for that. I'll show you how configurable this interface is. System, we have all these settings. Okay, and we're going to be in here for a little bit afterwards. Let's go to weather. You first have to select a weather service. Now, these were not included with the Kodi install. I went to get more, and it would show me, it would go to the Kodi the repository basically and show me the different plugins I have for weather. I selected Yahoo Weather and Open Weather Extended. So we'll select, in order for it to show up, we have to select what we're going to use for weather. So Kodi's going to use Yahoo Weather as its source for weather information. And now we want to find a location. So Montreal, Quebec. Now, if we go back to the main screen, you'll notice that weather exists now. And when we go to it, it's giving us up-to-date weather information. And with this skin, I think you can enter in up to 3 places. I'm not sure if that's a hard limit or that more can be entered in depending on the skin. Beautiful, isn't it? And in some skins, the weather actually appears in a corner on the screen, much like you see the clock in this one. So let's change the way that Kodi looks. But first, before that, we'll go into settings. Settings with Kodi have 2 or 3 levels. Right now we're at standard. There's also an advanced level, which on some screens will give added choices. Okay, but we're going to stay, and then there's expert, which will give a lot of configuration options. For most users, we'll just leave it as standard. There's also basic, which gives almost nothing. So let's change the skin. We've gone to skin, we move over, we see that Confluence is there. We have another skin that's available, but it's mostly for touch devices, so we're not going to put that on. Just go to Get More. How do we get skins? Well, we see one we like, we go to it, it gives us a little blurb, change log and install, we go to install, and we sit back. And what's going to happen is when it finishes downloading, it's going to ask us, do you want to change the skin immediately? So we're going to do that and show you how quick Kodi will do this on the fly. You'll also see at the bottom right notification boxes that pop up. Skins come with other add-ons and plugins as well. And that's telling us that Kodi's updating these add-ons and plugins. And it does that, by the way, almost on every start. I believe by default Kodi 4.14.2 will run an update, not just on the media. For example, if you add media to one of those places that you've told Kodi where to look, Kodi will actually recognize that you've added media. It will download additional information for the media that you've added since its last start. So let's change to Black Nova. We go yes. And now our skin has changed to Black Nova. How easy was that? Go back to skins. It's a little different now. Go to Get More. And this is a very popular, if quite a large skin. And it will actually go out there and get the skin for us. And when we can continue to use Kodi. Oh, and when it's finished, it will tell us it downloaded it. And now we've changed to Aeon Nox, which is another skin. And now it's updating some of the add-ons that come with the skin. And now you see that we've changed. So yes, Kodi is very quick and makes it very quick and easy to change the look and the feel. And you've noticed how we've gotten another choice on how to view things. This is more like a cover flow. It's posters view, which we didn't have in Confluence. At least not a view that looked just like this. And it's the same thing. You can select, you can resume. We'll start resume from where we were. Everything rides on top of everything else. That's the beauty of it. Everything just flows very smoothly. And we're going to get to system recommended system to run this a little bit later. Again, the weather overview and the movie that we're watching stays in the background. So let's go back to the original skin that we were using, because this is the one that you're going to see. You're going to see when you're actually running Kodi. Confluence. Let me show you the power of Kodi. Plugins. When we go to videos, add-ons, we've already put one, CNET Podcast. I'm going to show you how we put that there. Get More goes out to the repository that's located at the Kodi servers or wherever that is. And we go through a few of them. What do we like? What do we like? CBC News? Nah. Chip DE, CNET Podcast, Call It Humor. There's a lot of them. Cooking Channel, Crackler, Creation Today, Daily Motion, Danish Live TV, Dropbox add-on, Dropbox. There's tons of add-ons, and this is where Kodi becomes quite a 500-pound gorilla in the room. It's very powerful, and the add-ons and plugins is what adds to that in a big way. Okay, so what we've done, and we're going to go back to CNET. It's already enabled. I installed it. So I would go to, when I selected it, you would have the install button here. And I would quickly just go install, and it would install much like the skins do. But it would go under video plugins, because that's where it's located. And when I start it, now I have everything that CNET puts out in terms of a podcast. And there it goes. We're watching a CNET podcast. As simple as that. And the width and breadth of the different plugins and add-ons that's available is quite extensive. There are the ones that you can access from a fresh Kodi install, which basically goes out to the Kodi servers and pulls down from them. Or there's even more, many more, an order of magnitude more available from third party. And how would you do that? Well, here's one of the more popular ones, if we can get to it. Go to add-ons. And this is the beautiful thing about it, is that Kodi, look at the selections we have. It's ridiculous. Of course, check for updates. It does that. Kodi does that automatically. Install from zip file. I've actually downloaded repository information in the zip file format. Done. Add-on installer enabled. And what that's done, that's the easy way to do it. Okay? There are instructions all over the net on how to get various plugins. We're definitely not going to go into that here. Most people won't even need to do that, honestly. It's not really necessary to enjoy Kodi for what it is right off the bat. There's so much stuff here. It's absolutely it's incredible what you can get in terms of convergence and bringing everything together in one place. It's quite impressive. Here's a plugin I just installed called Addon Installer. Now this is very special. Addon Installer is like an app store for add-ons for Kodi. Show you. So here we've launched it. Here we have video add-ons, audio add-ons, world selection, service add-ons, program add-ons, anything you could think of. So let's go to video add-ons, for example. All these plugins are available. Did you notice? Next page, there's more. And I haven't even scratched the surface. So that's the power of Kodi. It's being able to configure the system the way you like it, view it the way you like it. It's quite an impressive thing, and people have never seen it before in action, in particular on a big screen TV, are just wowed by it. But its real power lies in how extensible it is, and that's the beauty of it. Um, we're not saying it's the best, although many people think it is in terms of Media Center software. Plex Media Center has also some major similarities and also differences, and some of those differences are actually very, very useful depending on how your media is distributed through your home or office. But we're going to concentrate on Kodi for now. I might do something later about Plex. Right now, let's get back to Kodi. So we get back to the system. So we've shown you how add-ons can extend the system and how there is an add-on store. It's called Addon Installer, just in case you didn't see it the first time. Addon Installer. This one, like I said, is much like an app store as you would use, for example, on an iOS device or an Android device or even a Windows mobile device. But this one is for Kodi add-ons. And we'll go through one more time. We have lots of different categories. And in all these different categories, we have different add-ons. Here we have world add-ons. It goes on and on and on, folks. It's mind-boggling. Let's go a little bit deeper into the system. Here are some of the configuration options that Kodi will present to you at the standard level. Show plot for unwatched items, download active thumbnails when adding to library. Of course, that's what I told you before in terms of Kodi is constantly looking at your library, which is all the areas you've told it where your media is. And as you build your library, Kodi grows with you, grabbing all the information for the new entries. Of course, these are things that deal like flatten library hierarchy, flatten TV show seasons. There's a lot of things here. Update library on startup. Personally, I'd have that enabled. I know that Kodi does do certain updates. I think it's for its plugins. I'm not too sure if it'll do it for your library, but here we've made sure that it does. It would also show you, if you clicked on this, if you highlighted this, it would not tell you, it would update the library in the background. You have Playback. And this is interesting. If I go to, I'll show you the difference on Playback. If I go to the expert level, now I have a lot more options. Adjust display refresh rate to match videos, sync playback, aspect ratio errors, playback mode, stereoscopic 3D. You see, right away you're offered a lot more than maybe what some people would be comfortable with. File lists, how to present them, subtitles, discs, play DVDs automatically. Kodi also will play DVDs. If you insert a DVD into a drive of your home theater PC, or if you're just using this on a PC or even a laptop, which, by the way, Kodi, you can install it on anything like that as well, it will automatically, in the main screen, pop up a new selection will come up here saying disc or DVD or whatever, and allow you to play your discs. You can set the system to do it automatically. I prefer not to. It will still tell me that there's a disc there, but I won't. Let's get to live TV. This is fairly new, or newer. It's been being worked on for quite a while. with the, and if we go to advanced, we have settings level and whatnot. We have a lot of different things here. And again, I have to point out that this is both a plus and minus depending on what kind of user you are. Many users out there just want a, you know what, set and forget, that's it. Other users just want to keep tinkering. They want control of the minutiae in the systems, the littlest thing, and Kodi will allow you to do that. Here we have music, how the library is presented, how it plays back. There's a playback next song automatically, cue song and selection, crossfade between songs. Oh, it's incredible. Same for pictures. If you do a slideshow, how long, what kind of use pan and zoom effects, which is really nice. Weather, of course, we've gone through that. Here's your add-ons, your services that have started, UP&P. Kodi's got a web server built in that you can actually control Kodi from a cell phone. I know that for Android, there are a number of remotes, one of which is actually official, that will allow you to control Kodi through your network. And it actually works very well. If you want to use that, it has a lot more control on Kodi than if you were just using a regular push-button remote. So you can enable that. Kodi also has a web interface, although I haven't used that as well. Zero config, AirPlay. AirPlay is another addition. We'll move on. System with video output, video calibration. And if we go to Expert, we go to video output. Now we have stereoscopic 3D mode, video calibration. When you're setting it up on your big screen and you're plugging a computer in, depending on the overscan settings for your big screen, Kodi's borders, or the border of the video being sent to the TV from the computer, may actually be slightly larger or smaller. And Kodi has built-in video calibration, which allow you to very interesting, and will allow you to make sure you take full advantage of your big screen. Limit color range. There's a master lock, of course, if you have kids in the house, small kids. Audio output device. Play GUI sounds. Input device. Power saving mode, of course. Debugging. Well, that's an expert thing right there. Of course, we already went through the add-ons. Get add-ons, enable add-ons, disabled add-ons. And now when you go and get add-ons, because I've installed more repositories from the zip file that I installed, you're going to see a whole lot more available. Okay? Definitely see a whole lot more available. And here we have things interesting like, real-time system information. Okay? Showing you your summary, Kodi 14.2 when it was compiled. The operating system, we're running this under Windows 8.1, how much storage is free and taken up, my network information, video information, Radeon R9 200 series, it's a 280X actually, and the hardware, Core i7 of course, how much CPU usage. And this I need to talk about. What system can run Kodi effectively? Well, seeing that you could run Kodi on a Raspberry Pi, it really doesn't take much. But we should point out that to run Kodi effectively under the Windows or the Linux platform, which is where most people run it, or OS X, a video card or an onboard video card, because they're very good these days, talking about AMD APUs and Intel, of course, graphics, must be supported, that especially for high definition 1080p, for example, high definition H.264, H.265 as well. You want a video processor that supports hardware acceleration of a lot of these formats. That way you can use very low-end hardware and run Kodi effectively with no slowdown. The new AMD AM1 5350 paired with an AM1 motherboard, a couple gigs of RAM in there, and you have a pretty nice Kodi box sitting right there for under $200. And it'll work quite effectively, in particular if the storage is moved outside of the the system itself, it can be made very small. We've built systems where we boot up with a 64 gig SSD drive, and for Windows or Linux-based systems, and all our media is located on a NAS or a home server somewhere else. We've done that. Those are very small. We've built more larger monolithic in size home theater PCs that looked about the size of a full-sized home theater 7.1 surround receiver, and we've been able to put a couple 3 terabyte drives in there or whatever and store all their media locally, of course. And of course connected to a backup solution, but that's for something else altogether. You don't want to collect this media, something that you collect over years and years, and you don't want a dead hard drive to wipe out your whole collection, so backup is essential. But we'd feel very comfortable recommending Kodi on even a low-end system. For example, some of the new Haswell Pentiums or Celerons. What about a gig, 2 gigs of RAM to 4 gigs, depending on what OS you're running. Linux Mint, we've installed it. My actual home theater PC I have in the basement runs on Linux Mint 17.1, and I'm very happy with it. You know, it just depends on the system. And once again, hardware acceleration of majority of video codecs will only help you a lot and allow you to use a lower end CPU to run Kodi effectively and to view all the video formats without interruption, freezing, micro freezing, or drop frames. So it really doesn't have to be expensive to build a quality home theater PC. And I've got to tell you that if you've ever used one extensively and you have a lot of media in the house, it's fantastic to have. You can put together little Kodi boxes all over the house and have one in the basement, have one in the den, and everything is feeding off of a NAS located centrally. We've done that as well. 3 or 4 people streaming movies and or home movies and whatnot from a NAS, and using Kodi's plugins to, you know, get their fill of content. So that's the video. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to any comments, critiques. Please throw us some likes our way if that's what you want to do, and we'd ask that whether you're on our YouTube channel or our Facebook group, that you would like us and help us to grow. Okay, if you like what we're doing here. So that's it. That's our video presentation, and thanks for watching us, and we really hope to see you again soon. Take care.